This is about time management. Okay. So, knowing that the pacing of a section for kindergarten and a unit for first through six is about 1 month of instruction, a kindergarten lesson is about 45 minutes, and a first through sixth grade is about 75 minutes ish across the board there. What advice do you have for districts with time constraints? And thinking about if they do have a 60-minute math block. So, what considerations or tips might you give teachers when they are grappling with this scenario of time management?
I got a two-prong, and Sarah will have other prongs. So the first prong is not for the teachers who have been told what they have and whatever, but it is, Tony, you mentioned at the beginning, Everyday Math has been around for a long time. And one of the very, very first guiding principles of Everyday Math was that elementary school kids deserve and need more time to learn math. And so we didn't accidentally write our lessons to be this long. We didn't just get lazy and make them too long. We said kids deserve enough math in elementary school to learn to do math well and to love it. And so we think the first thing should be that districts who adopt the program should be really thinking about how to find enough time for math. Many, 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 many districts do. It can be done. So that's the first thing. Kids deserve that much time for math. Before we think about how to cut it, let's think about how to find it.
I like that.
There are definitely tricks to the trade. The math message can be done as your morning bell ringer. Oh, now you only need 70 minutes. The
mental math fluency can be done when you're standing in line with your kids, waiting for the cafeteria to open up or waiting for the gym teacher to come and get them.
Exactly. So we have seen many teachers find in other parts of the day, or by using sort of like a flex day or something like that, ways to get all the parts in sort of clever ways. And that's fine. I mean, that might be great even if you have 75 minutes or even if you have 90 minutes. It's nice to sneak some math in at all different parts of the day. While the administrators are helping us find plenty of time for kids to have great math, I think we as teachers can be sneaky about our schedules or pop things in different ways. One of the nice things about having a practice part of a lesson that is topically different from the focus part of the lesson is that they don't need to be done in order and they don't need to be done in the same block. They can be kind of recombined, mixed, matched, adapted, saved, that kind of thing. So I would encourage people to think flexibly about the parts of the lesson and their schedules. I think Sarah's right. Mental math and fluency can always be during that dead time when you're waiting for one class to transition out, one class to transition in. It is literally that much time. It's not more. So
really what you're giving us is the kind of permission in a way to separate a few of these pieces out so that we're still getting kind of the whole story of the lesson in somehow, right?
Yep.
I think one of the things that can be confusing is that we have named the parts of our lesson, right? Part one, part two, and part three. And we understand that implies a particular order, but we're telling you now, we give you permission.
We can come before two.
Do part two first. Do part three first. It's fine. I mean, it is usually parts one, two, and three can be separated out and done at separate times in the day. And so, so think about your day and what works for you and what works for your classroom routines and your setup and be creative and flexible about those three parts.
Yeah. And so in let's just say that warm up of that mental math that we're working on in fluency, we can make things as a teacher go as long as we want, right? Because we're in the moment, we have this rich discourse. Right. So are you also thinking that there's some permission to just set a timer for 5 minutes and you get through as much as you can? Yep. To kind of control yourself,
Yes, because one of the beautiful things is that there will be another one tomorrow, and there will be another one the next day, and there will be another one the next day. So you can always, you can count on it being there. And if you don't get through today's, you'll get through tomorrow's. Or if you love today's and you didn't get through it, do it tomorrow instead of the one tomorrow. It'll be fine.
And also remind yourself that sometimes kids learn as much, if not more, from like a rich, deep discussion around one problem than they do from flying their way through 9 problems. And so if in the mental math, you did the first level, but you really were able to give kids an aha moment on level 1, maybe you don't need to do levels 2 and 3. That is perfectly okay. Move it along.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And once you give yourself that permission, I know working with a teacher who said her classroom this year is very half and half, like they're very high and then very more like on the fragile end. And so I'm like, well, can you divide the class? Like just let them choose which problem they want to solve, and then it didn't shake out like she thought. Like the lower kids would pick the easier task, but then they just got with a partner. And then the discussion really was about both tasks, but it was kind of 2 birds, 1 stone. And then the aha around that these fragile students were picking the more rigorous one because, it's a routine. It's something that they know we can be safe, throw ourselves out there with what we're thinking. Because like what you said, Debbie, we're going to get another chance tomorrow to refine and keep growing. Yeah.
I think this message around be a little creative with your implementation. I mean, it's not just about time. It can be around making this work in a way that fits like maybe you have a weird schedule this year and, you have like that weird 20-minute block between gym and music. And you want to figure out what's the best thing to do there. And so maybe there's some piece of an everyday math lesson that fits right there. Or
like maybe you could pull your part 3 out from from yesterday, maybe,
Or you could have like, practice stations and then keep them for the whole week and rotate kids through them and put the practice activities there. And it's so anyway, I think that we see that teachers who do take some ownership over these structures, they understand that they're all important, but they understand they can be in different order and they can be in small group or whatever. I think those kind of creative implementations often end up being the fullest implementations because the teacher's taken a little bit of ownership and taken these ideas around the good math and the structures around the distributed practice and made them their own. It's not like about what our team has written. It's more about translating that. So I encourage some flexible implementation once you understand what the parts are for and using them in a workshop model or using a flex day or doing something as a bell ringer. I think all of that is good. And if it doesn't work, the teacher's going to know by the end of the week and she can change it next week. Teachers know what's working.
That's right. And we are really good at do-overs, aren't we?
100%. It's one of the good things about being a teacher. Today was bad, but you go back tomorrow and maybe it'll go better. So.
Well, you guys, that completes my list of questions for you for starting strong with implementation. I'll just invite you guys, do you have anything else you would like to share with teachers, kind of a little mantra or one last word before we close down for those that are starting new with this program?
Enjoy it. That's what I would say. Hopefully it's fun.
My favorite thing to say when I taught was like math is everywhere and math is fun. And so we hope our materials let you see like where math is in your lives and your kids' lives. And we hope it's fun. And we hope we hear from you because the best changes we've made to our materials are changes we've made because we've heard from real teachers in real classrooms saying this worked well or this didn't work well. And this is how we made it work better. And so we love to hear from teachers.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time and we'll see you soon.